Well, welcome back to Hillbilly Shipwright. Now, this is where we've been building our Muscongus Bay lobster smack here, 1/24 scale from Model Shipways. Now, this is our third build in the 3-boat build from Model Shipways, the Become a Shipwright of Old series. In the last video, we got our smack all painted up. Now, there's a couple of things that we skipped while we were doing the painting and all that. So we're going to go back and catch all that. And we also have to get it mounted on the stand and get everything ready for masts and spars and sails and rigging and all that. So let's get over to the bench and get to work on that. Okay, so let's look in our instruction manual here and kind of see where we're at. We got all of our painting done and everything. The next thing is the bobstay eyelet. So it says for us to drill a small hole in the stem just above the water line and epoxy or cyanoacrylate glue in a small eyebolt. Snip the bolt short if necessary, and then we're going to mount the model permanently on its pedestals. So, time to put our eyebolt in. Now, we don't have any measurements here, but we can see about where they want us to put it there. So, we need to do that. So, in our kit, we have these eye bolts. Now, the length's probably going to be way too long for us. We'll have to trim that down. But we need to first locate it. So I do need to be careful here. I don't want to be scratching up all of our paint. So going to the book and taking a look at it here. Just kind of guess where you need to go. They don't have any measurements for us there. Let me find something to mark this with. Okay. So I'm going to put this in, I hope in the middle. That's where I want it. And I think that looks good. So now we need to drill a hole to accept it. Now I've got a, this is a number 70, which looks about right. Don't know how well you can see that, but if it's a little bit big, if it's just a little bit big, that's fine. If it's way too big, that's a big problem. So we're going to use this 70 here to drill this hole. And I want to drill it straight, but the most important thing is that we're in the middle of the bow stem, because that brass is rather it's kind of flimsy. It's very thin, so we can bend our eyelet and get it absolutely straight. So I'm just going to go ahead and drill this. It drills very easily. I know I'm probably shaking the camera. I apologize. That should be more than enough. Probably way too much, but anyway. Take and stick that in there and see. Okay, so maybe a 71 or a 72 is a better fit. I think we'll be all right. Now we're going to have to cut that down. Where's my wire cutters? Now, if you also do plastic models, don't use your sprue cutters. Use wire cutters. Because sprue cutters can be damaged, and then you're going to have problems with your plastic builds. All right, that's good. All right, let me get some CA glue and get that ready, and we're going to stick that into place. So with our CA glue, I actually want to get plenty on it. I don't need this pulling out on us later. We'll just push it all the way up in. I think I'm straight. Just like so. There we go. All right, that should do nicely. So our next challenge, after our bobstay eye bolt is put in place there, and we use the CA glue to put it in, we've got to mount the model permanently on its pedestals. So now that's something to think about. Now we've got a lot of stuff going on our hull, the sanding primer and the paint and all that stuff. If I just glue this into place, I don't know how well it's going to stay. So I'm thinking maybe we should pin it. That's kind of where I'm at on that. I've thought about it a bit, and now it's time to do it. Yeah, I think I'm going to pin it. So let's figure this out. All right, so this is what I've come up with. I want to not only glue the smack down to our stand, but I also want to pin it in place. So what I have here is this 3/64 inch brass rod. This is K&S Precision Metals. Get that at your hobby shop, you know, or if you're overseas, your equivalent, whatever. Whatever you can get. You do want to kind of match it up to the right drill bit, of course. Don't want it too big, because we are going to cement these into place. So I may start out with a smaller bit. So my idea is to actually drill a hole in our bracket here on our support stand that will allow us to push pins into the hull. So I need to be able to drill that. And yes, I wish I had thought of this before now. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. So I need to drill straight through that. That's going to be somewhat of a challenge, but that's okay. We can do that. So I went ahead and marked this side right here. If you can see that little divot that I put in there, I'm just going to measure where we're at. So it's about a millimeter and a half, if I can say that. Yeah, actually about 2 millimeters. Center is about 2 millimeters down. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and mark these so we can get a start right in the middle there. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. I mean, perfect is good. Don't get me wrong. So, of course, I'm marking this with the camera rolling, so don't know where I'm going to end up. Oh, that's pretty good. All right, so I got it marked. That's my starter for where I want to put the pins. So the idea is for the pins to pass through and then into the hull. We will do that. We have to drill the holes first. All right, and then we're going to use a little bit of wood glue here to center our boat. And we're going to get the lobster smack in place and level and all that with the wood glue and let that dry. After it's dry, we're going to come back and pass our drill bit through the pre-drilled holes that we're going to drill in these brackets. We're going to drill it into the hull, and then we'll be able to cut and insert pins. A little bit of CA glue to hold them into place, and then I'm confident that that will be more than secure and keep our boat from coming loose there. We don't want that to happen. So the next big thing is to get these holes drilled at the right angle, of course. I think I am going to start off with a smaller bit. I think it's a 55 I got there. Let me switch out and get a smaller bit. So I switched over to a 53, which I think is, let me just mic it. 0. I'm going to measure this in millimeters. So I'm 1.04 millimeters there. Our brass rod is 1.19, and we are going into softwood, so let's see how the smaller bit does for us there. Kind of see how that works. So I do have to keep straight here. I'm going to try to do this while I'm filming it. Hopefully my drill bit is sharp enough that I can actually cut through. Yes, we are drilling edge in, and that's kind of that can be kind of a problem. We don't want it to come out the side. Whoops. Well, it already came out, so that's all right. It didn't make a mess, so that went quicker than I thought it was going to. Just kind of cleaning it out as we go there. Yeah, it's going to have to be drilled a little bit bigger, but that's okay because the angle is about right, and it doesn't matter. All of them don't have to be the exact same angle. What I would like, though, is to get it flush, but that's not absolutely necessary. So that's my idea. I mean, I got off just a little bit, but that's all right. Nobody's going to see that. Easier to do this off camera, of course, than it is on camera with you guys watching me. Why is it every time you guys are watching, I screw something up? That's not too bad. That's pretty good. At least I didn't come out the side. That would have been terrible. We'd have to fix that. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and drill the other 4. And then we can make it bigger for our brass rod. Kind of helps it being smaller. It kind of goes through the wood much easier. So I'm going to get these drilled. So here we're working on the brass rod that we're going to use to pin our boat. I just want to make sure that I've got a tapered end. Hopefully that'll that's supposed to help us. It's supposed to help us actually insert these. So I drilled these out, and they are at a 56. Yeah, I used a 56 bit to open them up, and really snug. But that's okay, I think. I think that'll be fine. We just have to be careful when we go to pin the boat into place. So that's kind of where I'm at there. What I need to do is I need to decide how long I want them. It doesn't have to go in very far because we're going to be coming in at 2 different angles there. And I need something to mark that with. Actually, I don't think I do need something to mark it with. We're just going to cut it off. Probably have to use a pair of pliers to pull it out. We got pliers here. Comes out rather easily. I'm going to put it back in my vise here. So I can clean up that end. So we're going to have two different size pins, really. Somebody's screaming at me that I'm not filing that correctly. And you would be right, but it's brass. It's not a big deal. So I'm going to need two at this length. Doesn't have to be absolutely precise. It's just got to be deep enough to grab the hull there. That's the key there. It's probably too long. So I'm going to clean this one up, and then I'm going to have to make two other pins. Now they're going to be longer. So you can see how we have there's a shorter distance to go here than here. So I'm going to make the other two longer. So let me go ahead and make all these pins and we'll take a look at them. So as it turns out, the same length pin will work. So that'll be fine. So we got our pins. We're kind of ready to go, I guess. This is the nerve-wracking part. So I don't want to lose these. I need to put these somewhere where I can find them. All right. So I'm going to scuff these up a bit. We don't want the boat breaking loose. While we're trying to get it pinned. And it doesn't really touch much on these brackets, so it's kind of, it's going to be a glob of glue. Now you could spend a lot of time fitting these to get a perfect fit. I didn't do that. I think scuffing them up, getting the glue on there, and we'll have to clean up the squeeze out, of course, and then we'll have to let the boat sit. And that glue fully cure before we try to put the pins in, because we don't want to be pushing the boat away from our brackets here, causing it to break loose. Yeah. So now we need to get set up for setting our boat in place. So I need to be, well, let's do something else first. Okay, so we've gone shaky cam here. Sorry about that. But here's the deal. I've got the boat set on the stand about where it needs to go. So I just want to make sure that I've got enough room here where I'll be able to insert the rudder if I go ahead and mount the Lobster Smack on its stand. So now I feel good about that. So we can continue. Okay, am I being a little bit Too complicated? Probably. Probably. So anyway, I've got the boat adjusted. And I did put a little piece of tape to index me exactly how far the boat needs to set back from our first riser there, our first bracket. So that's important. And next up, I did put a bubble level on, and it is level. And we are also level across our seats, if you can see that there. So now I've got a good reference. If I leave the bubble on the seat in the cockpit, when I set my boat down, I should be okay. Now we need to double check to make sure that the seat is actually level, because if it's not level, then, well, the boat will be crooked. So I did measure it off, both port and starboard there, using that little sliding T on my ruler, and I have them marked, as you can see there, left and right, just forward of our little drain hole, just like that, so that I can double check and make sure, oops, sorry, make sure that the measurement from left and right on the tow rail is the same, and that our bubble level is level. So with that, I'm confident that once I put glue on our front bracket and our rear bracket and set the boat in and double check our level, then it'll be exactly where it's supposed to be. Complicated, I know, but I really want it to be as level as possible, so that's how I'm going to do it. Now I'm going to have to do this off camera because there's just no way for me to film it and you see what I'm doing. But I will put the glue on the brackets right where it actually contacts the hull, and we'll just set it into place. And now we're going to need a little bit of water and a brush standing by to clean up any squeeze out, and then we're just going to have to let it set and dry. So that's my plan, and that's what I'm going to execute. Wish me luck. So, okay, I'm going to say that that went well. Now, just in case you're wondering, yes, my desk is level. I leveled it when I set it up, and I checked my level before I started doing this. So I think we're in good shape. Yeah, we're in good shape. So I'm going to let that set and dry before we start drilling and trying to put our pins in. All right. So I let this dry overnight. So now for the challenging part. We need to drill into the hull and probably through some glue to get there. So I'm putting pressure on the boat, not on the stand, because we don't want to push the boat away from the stand and break our glue joint. So that's kind of, we're probably going to have to drill through some glue to get there. Now it's quite possible we're drilling into a frame or something else inside there. So we need to be careful. There we go. So we're through. Now we need to push a pin home. All the pins are relatively the same size. Pointy end in. And I'm pushing against the boat, not the stand. There we go. So probably a little CA glue would be a good idea. We'll just put it right onto the piece of brass, on our brass rod, and then we'll just push it in flush. That's my plan anyway. Let me get some glue ready. So we only need a little bit of CA glue. That'll do it. And now, you probably can't see what I'm doing. I can barely see what I'm doing. There we go. Well, that's one pin in. So I have the other 3 to do, and I'm going to do that very carefully, just like you've seen there. And that'll help stabilize the boat and keep us from breaking the glue joints loose on our stand. Alrighty. So we got all of our pins in. And yeah, we're in good shape there. Hopefully, it'll never come off. Now, if for some reason we have to take it off the stand, you'll have to cut through these, and you'll destroy the brackets. But it's never supposed to come off, so I think we're fine. So, with that done and out of the way, we can go back to our instructions. So we've mounted it permanently. So now we need to do our traveler. Now, all this is a bent piece of brass rod. And this is the 16th inch brass rod there that they give us in the kit that we need to use for that. We can't use a smaller one because the holes in our deck are for the 16th brass rod. So we're going to have to do that. All right. So what I have is our brass rod here that I already annealed, and I do need to polish it up. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to sand and polish it up, get it nice and shiny again. Now, I didn't show you me annealing this because, well, we've already done annealing brass before, and that's where you heat it up until it glows like a maroon red, and then just let it cool. Don't touch it because it's hot. So let me go ahead and polish this up, and then we'll see about what we got to do to bend this. So there we are, all polished up. Now we got some sort of crazy look going on here, right on the end. There we go. We'll just get rid of that. It's from the annealing process. There's a little dark spot on it, and it's just easier to cut it off than to worry about it. So. Now, if you use your fine polishing stick to do this, make sure that you wash that. Otherwise, if you go back to sanding wood or something, you'll be putting that really dark gray residue from polishing the brass onto your wood. So make sure that you do that. You need to be very careful with this too, because it's very easy to bend since it's been annealed. So we're going to be extra careful. So going at our instructions here, we have a pattern. They want us to bend it to this pattern here. And before we do something like that, we need to check it and make sure that it is exactly the same on the boat. The spread between the two legs there. So it looks like we're at 28.5 millimeters. That's 28.5 millimeters. And we need to check our boat. Probably easier if I do it this way. So inside to inside, yeah, we're at 30 millimeters. Okay, so that pattern's not going to work for us, obviously. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a piece of basswood here. We're going to make us a bending jig. It's kind of where I'm at there. Need to cut the end of it off, make sure it's straight. If I can find my pencil. Always losing things. I'm just going to mark it all the way around. That's good enough. So I need to trim that end off. I'm going to use our display jig here. Get it cut off. Now when you're cutting thick stuff with this, kind of cut like a third of the way down on one side, and I cut the ends, or the edges here. Sorry, you couldn't see me. Cut about, a quarter of the way or a third of the way in on one flat side. Then on the thinner side, I just put a little mark on it there with the blade so that it doesn't split out, and then we're going to go and cut it completely through. That's because our blade is tapered, so I do need to sand that. Oh, here we go. Am I out of frame again? Let me zoom out there. There we go. I keep getting out of frame. All right, so there's that. Now, I want it to be 30 millimeters long. Now, just in case you don't know, most rulers are not correct at the very end. So I got 1 millimeter overhang, and then I'm going to mark it at 31. It's a little bitty piece, it's not big. Before I cut it, it looks about right. So this is some scrap wood, one of those multi-packs. So I probably just need to cut this in one go, and then true it up with our sanding block, if we need to do that. Actually, it looks pretty good. Probably good enough for what we need. So we're going to go back and check it on our boat. That should do. It's just a tad short, but that's okay because we are going to have a bend. And when you bend metal, you never get a 90-degree exactly. So I'm going to round off these edges here. That should help. With our bending. Okay. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to have the legs just a little bit longer than they need to be, and we're going to trim them to fit. I don't want it too short because that'll pose a problem. There we go. All right, so I need to back that and kind of clamp it. I can use my parallel pliers to clamp it. I need another piece of wood. In theory, this should work. I'm going to start off. If I get everything lined up, get my pliers in place here to hold it. Now, the reason why I'm using a piece of wood is because it will it'll mar this soft brass up, and we don't want to do that. So now, let's see. I need something to push it with. Yeah, we'll use this. Hopefully, all goes well. Well, there we go. That's one end. You only get one shot at it, really. Yep. I need to move it. Started to bow on me. That's not good. We don't want it bowed. Now you can always twist it if the legs don't come out exactly. let me do this off camera. Okay, a little bit of fiddling there to get it in place. Now I want to bend this side. There we go. That actually looks pretty good. Now I already know that these are going to be too long. Just see how well we did there. Not too bad. This one needs to be bent a little bit more. Oh yeah, needs to be bent a little bit more. A little bit more. Let's see, what's the best way for me to do that? Oh yeah, that's going to work. So now we need to see how much is sticking out. That's quite a bit. Trim it down. As you can see, it does insert quite a bit, so we don't want to go too much. Otherwise, we'll be bending another piece. Keep my scraps up off the floor. This side needs to be trimmed a little bit more. Use my fingernail to push it over. There we go. So that doesn't look too bad there, does it? That looks pretty good. So how much is supposed to be sticking up? That's obviously too low, whatever that is. Here we go. Kind of supposed to look like that. That's what we're going for there. It doesn't look bad. I think I'll take just a hair off of both sides. That went away. I don't know where it went. Oh yeah, that's good. That is good. All right, we're ready to put this on. Go to my parts here. Now we already made our block up for our traveler. So we can just slide that on. And get it started in the hole. Now it doesn't want to go. There we go. I want to make sure my insertion depth is good. It's good. So we're going to pull it up. Not out, just up. Like that. Now we need some CA glue. Get all this out of my way here. It's a little stiff. Need some fresh stuff here. So we're going to put CA glue on it, and then we're going to push it home. Here we go. Wish me luck. And there we are. Oh yeah. That looks good. All right, we got our traveler in place. so this is all about the cleaning up of the block and everything, which we already did, and we put our wire around it with a loop. So next up is our tiller and rudder. Now we already did our tiller while we were waiting for paint to dry, so that's good. So now we need to put our rudder into place so that we can either super glue or epoxy our tiller onto the shaft of our rudder. There's our rudder. Need to put the rudder in place. So we know it fits. We've already been there. There we go. We should be able to see the shaft way down inside the hole there. It's going to be interesting. It's always interesting, isn't it? Can I hit it? That's the question. Gotta do a test run here. Yeah, we can hit it. All right. So one of the things we're going to need to do is make sure that our rudder stays straight while we're fooling around with all that, because it can turn on us. And if it turns, that's going to be an issue. Let's find a clamp. I don't think that'll open up enough. It might. I'm going to put blocks on either side of our tiller. I mean, not our tiller, but our rudder. Maybe. The idea here is to clamp it to the keel. To keep it straight. Ish. Oh yeah, that looks good. All right, so you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to do this off camera. I need to put some CA glue in our little slot there. And I'm going to have to get my face all down in there and get our tiller in place. So let me go ahead and glue that up, and then we'll see what else we got. So there it is. Get our blocks off here. It works. So need to be really careful from now on, because we don't want to put any downward force on that and break that loose. As you can see, our tiller works our rudder. Nice. And of course our link works our centerboard. We got a working smack. All right, so that's good. Alrighty, so we got our fairlead on. I mean, not our fairlead, but our traveler. Yeah. So we got our traveler on there. So next we have fairleads to put in. Now these are eyebolts that go in on the deck to the left and right of the cabin area there. So on our deck, As you can see, we already have a hole there. Now that was laser cut by the manufacturer. And the holes are way too big for what we need, but since they're there, I'm going to try to center, get us a little divot down inside them to drill, because it's right over top of a frame. I think it's frame number 3 maybe, or 2. So I'm going to use my smallest pin vise with about a number 71 bit. I need to drill that. I think I got glue down in there. Yeah. Let me see if I can do this one. Yeah, we're making progress there. Little bitty hole. It's going to be quite the task to cement that up. So let me see if I can get this one. All right, we got it started anyway. Okay. All right. So now these are going to be too long, of course. I'll get my finger underneath. Just checking my fit. It's nice and snug. Probably should drill that a little deeper. We're going to have to cut these off anyway, but I just want to be able to get these in place. Kind of get an idea. It's not very deep. All right, let me go ahead and drill these out a little bit more, and I'm also going to cut these down. So I've got them in the holes, and I've got them just lifted up so I can put some CA glue on them. That didn't go well. I better get it pushed down in there. Like that. Got the CA glue on my rail. Well, that's how it's supposed to go. Just like that. Maybe I'll do better on the other one. We can only hope. Oh yeah, I did better there. Just get it pushed home. Just like that. Nice. You do want those holes to be tight so that the CA glue can really grab onto them, because the ropes that are going to go through it are going to be for our sail up. I forget what you call that sail. That little triangular sail thing. Yeah. So, yeah, you're going to want to make sure that they're nice and secure. So those are our fairlead eyelets. Those are in place. All right. So next up is our trail boards. Now these are these boards right here. That goes along our beak head. So these support the beak head on each side, as these are thin, cross-grained wood to take the bend. Handle them very gently or they will break. I'll probably get them broke. Carefully scrape the paint on the beak head and behind the aft end of the boards so that the glue will take. Glue and clamp one side at a time. Make sure that the trail board is glued down aft as far as the beak head / stem joint as shown. Then they go on about the painting and all that, and they do have somewhere got these right here. These are appliques that you're supposed to basically glue into place with that nice scroll on it there. Yeah, not too sure what we're going to do there yet, but let's get our beak heads out. See what kind of a fit we're going to have. That's on fret 5. Now, on mine, from the manufacturer, they have this clear tape. And I suspect it's because one of them is free of the fret. Yeah. So that's free of the fret there. Nothing to fret about. We'll just get this other one cut out. There it goes. So I think I need to clean these up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to get them cleaned up, and then we're going to kind of check their fit. You can see how easy it is to bend these, so we want to be careful. Yeah, see? It'll break easy. Okay, so I got them all cleaned up and sanded, but I really don't know how they're going to react. Between the glue and the paint and all that. So I think we're going to do a little experiment here. This is the same fret 5 that those parts came out of. Give me a piece of paper here. So what I have here is an acrylic marker. You could probably use an alcohol-based marker too, a black permanent marker. There we go. It's kind of, whoops, sorry. I hit you. Didn't mean to do that. Just trying to see what kind of a reaction we get here. Well, it looks good. I don't see why we can't do that. I think it's easier to do it now than it would be with it on the boat. These are just those art markers. They are acrylic paint. Probably have to put a couple of coats on them. The end grain is going to really soak it up. But there's a lot less moisture in this marker than it is in the paint. So this being so thin and so fragile, it would just probably curl up on us if I was to paint this with acrylic black paint. So that's working nice. Yeah. And we'll be able to get the back side of it too before we actually put it on. It's not doing a whole lot of curling. It's trying to curl a little bit. Yeah. Probably have to put a couple of coats on. Yeah, that's going to work for us. So here we are. I have got it painted up with the marker. And just in case you want to know, it's an acrylic marker. Probably hard to see. Acrylic marker, Kevin and Sasa Crafts. One end is the large end, which I'm using. The other end is pointy, but it has made the grain raise a bit. So I'm going to use a fine sanding stick here. I've already started working on it, as you can see. Kind of try to polish that down a little bit. Put another coat on. Got to be very careful with these because they are super fragile. Super fragile. I'll go ahead and get these as, oops, wrong end. Get these as smooth as possible. Put another coat on here. And let that dry. I'll go ahead and do the other one too. Now, the one thing I'm thinking, I'll just show you here real quick. The appliques here are larger than the part, which means you're going to have to trim them down and all that. And as you can see, well, the artwork is, I mean, it's okay, but I think I might be able to actually paint that on myself. So I need to do a little practice and see if I can do that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find me a good brush, not that one, and see if I can. I'm going to use some of the fret 5 here and practice painting those. So I need me a couple of spots where I can actually do that. So we'll paint up a couple of these and just to get some practice in. Now you don't have to paint them on yourself, but if I can actually accomplish that, it'll probably look a lot better. Okay, so I've been practicing and I've learned a few things, and I'll pass that on to you. One is because the grain is crossways on the pieces that we're going to actually be putting on, that kind of runs into an issue. One is that other than the fact that I don't have a steady hand, the roughness of the wood catches and makes it really difficult to make smooth lines. That's just the way it is. Trying to paint over a rough surface, you get a rough result. So I've been practicing some more, and you can see I've got the same thing going on here. What I found is that what I need to do is take this clear satin and seal the surface of it and kind of buff it down, you know, with a real fine sanding stick and get it as smooth as I can, and I get a much better result. So that's what I'm going to have to do if I'm going to hand paint these on. And I think I am. I'm going to hand paint these on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the clear satin and put it on the pieces that's going to go on the boat, and polish that down so that we have a smooth surface to do our scroll work. That's the only way around it, really. So crazy, yeah. I mean, once we get our clear satin on, we can use a Q-tip and some water and erase anything that's not dry that comes out wrong. So we just need to fix it as we go. So I am going to have to scale down a little bit because my scroll work is just a little bit too big. So, but that's okay. You are going to need a really fine brush to do this. It's probably not the best brush in the world. This one's a 3.0. Yeah. And I am using the Model Expo colors. There's probably paints that are much better for doing this, but this is what I'm using because that's what I got. So we're gonna make this work. So I'm gonna get some clear satin on here and get that buffed down nice and smooth, and I'm gonna go ahead and paint mine on. I mean, really, all things considered, my painting is not as bad as, or worse anyway, than what they've got there. So yeah, I think it'll be all right. All right, so there we are with them all painted up. They look, well, about as well as the applique. So, but, you know, it was an interesting little exercise in trying to do scroll work. So now I did go back and put a clear coat over top of them. So they are ready to go on. So one of the things that I do need to do, I'm going to scratch through the paint here down to where I want it to stop. This is so that the glue will have a little bit of gripping power. because the paint tends to sometimes not hold as well. But these are really light parts, shouldn't be that big of a deal. So we're going to go ahead and glue it in place. Now we need our some water for cleanup, a brush for cleanup, our applicator, and of course a little piece of paper towel there, and something to clamp it with once we get it on. We'll go ahead and put this on. Whoops, sorry. Don't need a whole lot of glue here. So the back side is still relatively rough, so it shouldn't be an issue with it sticking in place. All right, that's probably all we're going to need at the moment. Don't know how much of this you'll be able to see. I hope everything. That would be good. No, my hand's going to be in the way. I just need to line it up at the very, whoops, with the very end. And right along the top there, I need to get that aligned. Just like that. Didn't get no squeeze out on the bottom, that's good. Clamp that into place for a second. Actually doesn't look too bad. So I do want the corner of it right there at the bottom edge of that whole copper red on our tow rail. Ideally, it would have rested right on top of the rub rail, but it doesn't really do that. That's okay. So you need to only do one side at a time. Otherwise, you're liable to end up with something that you don't want. I think we're in good shape there. It's probably already tacked up enough to hold it in place. That's good. We'll just let this dry. Now that doesn't look too bad. Yeah, okay. At least they're in place, right? Yeah, they're about symmetrical, so we're in good shape there. So now we've got our bow sprit to put on, and of course our samson post. It needs to be installed. I still haven't fixed that. Anyway, a little chip right there. I meant to fix that earlier, but I guess we'll get it. We'll get it in a minute. So I need to glue our Samson post into place. Now, one of the things that I have already went and done, kind of scratched down through the paint there a little bit to give our wood glue something to hold on to when we go to glue our bow sprit in place. So, yeah, just double checking. I need some glue. I think the best thing to do is put the glue down inside the hole there. That way we don't end up with a bunch of glue squeezing out on our deck. It's not going to take much to hold it because it is very, very tight. And all I got to do is get it in there straight and we'll be all right. That looks pretty good, huh? What do you think? So I do need to double check our angle right here before I commit to cement. And it does need to be slightly adjusted. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because I need to sand it and decrease the angle. It's got too much angle on it there. So I'm going to go ahead and fit that so that it butts up against our Samson post correctly, I guess. I hope it's correct. Of course, I am going to place this just like so. And hopefully sand it square. Or square-ish. A little bit more. See where we're going with it here. Oh yeah, that looks good. All right. That looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on it and just press it into place. And then, of course, you know, clean up any squeeze out because we are going to have some squeeze out around that. Just kind of name of the game there. So let me get that cemented into, or glued into place. Yeah, and then we'll be ready to go. Okay, so here we are. We're looking good. So we did a lot of things in this video. We did our little eyelet here for bow sprit stay. And we also did the little eyelets here for the fairleads for our sprit sail. And yeah, we got our rudder and tiller installed, and we made our traveler bar there for our traveler block. Got all that installed. And we did our trail boards here. And those were the most challenging out of everything that I did in this video. That was the most challenging for me because I'm not very good at freehand scroll painting. So I did do some practice runs, you know, and I found out that I really needed to clear coat our trail boards. with that satin clear to give it a much smoother surface so that we could do the scroll work. Then, of course, you have to worry about having a steady hand to do that. So a little bit of practice there. Now, on a good note, if you make a mistake, if you're trying to do that scroll work by hand, just keep a little container of water and a cotton bud or Q-tip next to you. And if you get too much paint on there, or if it doesn't, you don't really get it in the right shape that you want, you can just wipe it away and let it dry for a few seconds and then go back and do it again. So that's kind of how I got through it. And they look pretty good. I think that they look at least as good as the ones that are in the book, which they want you to cut out and use as an applique. So this is back on page 2 of our manual, and that's them right there. I don't recommend cutting them out of the book. If you're going to do the applique, here's the thing. They're oversized to the pieces of wood, the trail boards that they actually go on. So if you have a laser printer, you can print out that page and just cut them out. And if you're going to go that route, follow the instructions with how they want you to put them on, which means that you're going to have to put the trail boards onto the boat first before you actually put the applique on. And then you have to trim it to fit because they are slightly oversized, which kind of runs into a little bit of a problem there for me because I'm not so sure that the scroll work's going to end up in the middle of the trail boards. So you do have a little bit of room for error there. You just got to be really careful when you do that. Now you can't really put these on the trail boards before you put them on the boat because then you're going to bend it to get them on there. And when you bend it and you've got paper appliqued on it, the paper may buckle up and that may cause an issue because the wood underneath is not going to stretch to fit the paper. The paper is going to want to try to contract to fit the bend, and it's not going to want to do that. The other thing is, once you do get those appliques on, you're going to need to go over it with a clear coat to seal it in. So I highly recommend that you don't use a inkjet printer to do this because if you do, you may soften and loosen the pigments, and then you get a blur and a smear, and you don't really want that. So I recommend using a laser printer. So find somebody that's got one if you don't have one, and just print that one page, you know. And the good thing is, if you cut these to fit so that you can applique them on after you've got the trail boards in place, then you can always make another copy if you mess it up when you cut it out. Yeah, and you don't quite get the fit right or something like that. So just something to look forward to if it's the approach that you want to do on yours. We didn't do that here. I just painted them on. So yeah, but I think we look really good. The other thing that we did, we pinned, when we mounted the boat onto the stand, we pinned it into place with brass rod. And it went very easy. The only thing is you need to make sure that you start off center in your brackets there when you drill those holes, and keep it as straight as possible. Just make sure that those brass rods that you're putting in don't go so far into the vessel that they cross each other, because then you're going to run into a problem when you go to insert them, right? So you need to be shy of them actually meeting inside the hull of the boat. So a couple of things to look out there that I didn't really mention in the video, but that's it. That'll do it for this video. So we're looking really good. We look like a lobster smack. So we got some metal work coming up. We need to do the chain plates, and then of course we're going to prep everything. We got let's see. tie down areas and cleats and stuff like that to do, and our mast and our yards and spars and all that. So look for that coming up. So special thanks to all my subscribers. Because of you guys that I keep making these videos, and I hope that you enjoyed this one and that it was helpful to you. And if you're new to the channel, I hope that I earned your subscription. So until I see you guys next time, you guys stay safe.